All right, let's jump right in. The AI revolution is absolutely here, but guess what? It's hitting a massive roadblock. And it's not the GPUs, it's not the data, it's the network itself. The very thing that's supposed to connect everything is starting to break. So let's dig into why that's happening, and more importantly, what we can actually do about it. This quote from an infrastructure director, it just says it all, right? Imagine having all this incredible horsepower, all this amazing data ready to go, and you get stopped by the plumbing. It's a frustrating thought, but that's the reality for so many companies right now. And that's the core problem we're unpacking today. So, how in the world did AI break networks that we all thought were state-of-the-art? Well, it turns out that just having the biggest, baddest switches from the top vendors, it isn't enough. Modern infrastructure, it seems, has this hidden fragility. And AI workloads are kind of like a heat-seeking missile for finding every single crack. And if you're in the trenches, these symptoms are going to sound painfully familiar. Those big AI jobs, they just stall for no reason you can see. Weird congestion pops up in blind spots your dashboards don't even cover. Meanwhile, your best engineers are burning hours, sometimes days, just digging through logs while all the vendors are pointing fingers at each other. It's just chaos.
But here's what's really fascinating. The root of the problem isn't just about raw speed or performance. The thing that really paralyzes teams, the hardest part, is a complete lack of control. Your visibility just stops at the edge of one vendor's box, the data you get back is incomplete, and then it hits you. You can't really see, let alone manage what's happening inside your own network.
Okay, so that brings us to the next part of the story, which is the obvious reaction to vendor lock-in, open networking. The dream of a world with total choice and agility. But that promise, it comes with a very real peril that keeps a lot of IT leaders up at night.
And at the heart of this whole movement is something called Sonic. That's software for open networking in the cloud. It's a really powerful idea. It's an open source network OS that basically lets you untether your software from your hardware. You can pick and choose the best switches from anyone and just run the same OS on top of everything. It's exactly what the cloud giants do.
And this slide just nails the dilemma perfectly. On one side, you've got the dream. No more vendor lock-in, freedom to choose your hardware, real agility. But on the other side is the cold, hard reality. Operational risk, no enterprise support, and that terrifying 3 a.m. question, who do I call when this breaks? Everybody wants the freedom, but they just can't stomach the risk.
So how do you get the promise without the peril? Well, this is the turning point. The answer isn't to run away from open networking, it's to de-risk it. And this is where Aviz comes in, by introducing a totally new kind of control plane that finally makes open networking safe for the enterprise.
Now, this is a really critical distinction. A monitoring tool is basically a security camera. It just sits there and shows you what's happening. A control plane, though, that's the entire security team. It doesn't just watch, it can lock doors, direct traffic, and actively manage the situation. Aviz is that security team for your network, giving you the control you've been missing. So how does Aviz pull this off? Well, it all comes down to 3 things. First, it makes open networking safe by wrapping Sonic with real 24/7 enterprise support and tough SLAs. Second, it makes your network totally transparent with observability that sees deep inside everything, right down to the silicon, no matter who made the hardware. And third, it makes the network intelligent with an AI copilot that lets you manage the whole thing just by talking to it.
And this quote, this is the magic right here. The old way is spending your afternoon digging through mountains of logs. The new way? You just ask a question in plain English, like, hey, what's the health of this switch? Or, are we going to run out of capacity soon? And it just answers you. This literally transforms hours of work into a couple of minutes.
Okay, so theory is great, but let's look at how this plays out in the real world. We're going to check out a case study from Ridgeway University, and it perfectly shows that journey from total chaos to actually having real effective governance.
The problem at the university was a classic one. AI was just popping up organically all over the place. Research, student services, you name it. But this created what they called shadow AI. AI was everywhere, but network oversight was nowhere, which created these massive blind spots and totally unpredictable traffic.
And this timeline shows their whole transformation. It started with that shadow AI chaos. That led to a complete failure in governance. Leadership lost all confidence. Then, Aviz helped them build a vendor-neutral AI fabric with Sonic. And, this is the kicker, they did it without having to rip and replace their existing gear. And the result? AI adoption didn't slow down. It matured, accelerating safely, because for the first time they had the control and visibility they needed. So this brings it all back home. It brings us to the one question that really matters for anyone managing infrastructure today. It's time to take a hard look in the mirror and ask about your own network's readiness for this new age of AI.
And if you take away just one thing from this explainer, please let it be this. Can you actually see AI behavior inside your network right now? Because if the answer is no, it's not that you're just a little behind, it means you're operating blind. And that's a fundamentally more dangerous place to be.
So the first question you've got to ask yourself is this. Are your AI workloads already poking holes in your network, exposing gaps that your current tools were just never built to see? Are blind spots popping up where you used to have total clarity? Second, think about your people, your team's valuable time. How much of their day is just spent finding the needle in the haystack instead of actually fixing the problem once it's found? Think about that cost.
And finally, here's the last one, the big one. If you decided tomorrow to go truly multi-vendor, to get the absolute best hardware for every job, would you still have real control? Or would that control just shatter, fragmented across a dozen different vendor tools? I'll leave you with that thought.